Today we are going to talk about a book that deals with priority management. We said priority management in previous episodes. Some people call priority management time management, but I choose to call time management priority management. And this book is the 80-20 Principles by Richard Koch. Would you like to learn how to get more done with less effort and eliminate wasteful activities? Many people will answer definitely yes. If it is your first time you are coming across this channel, please hit subscribe and turn on notification. Richard Koch's the 80-20 principle will show you how to ensure your efforts produce the best possible outcomes for you, the best possible results in whatever you do. How? By making some hard decisions about what to focus on and what to ignore. You have to make decision. You have to decide, on one hand, what to focus on, and on the other hand, what to ignore. Why are you doing that? You are doing that so that you free up time which you will have used otherwise. You will have used to do unproductive activities and use energy. You see, time and energy is the resources we have in achieving our objective. Now, if you free up time and energy to only focus on what will be productive at the end of the day, then you will have achieved your objective. Now, there are many names people refer to this phenomena. Some call this the 80-20 principle, some call it Pareto's law, some call it Zipf's principle of least effort, others call it a Durant's law of the vital few. Whatever name you choose to call, you have to know that 20% of your effort always produces 80% of the result you achieve in any given setup. And that is what we are going to deal with today. There are 5 points to note before we proceed. And these are the 5. Number 1, big percentage of people overestimate the importance of most things. Why? But what do I mean by big percentage of people overestimate the importance of things? You might think what you are doing today is very important, but 3 years down the line, you will say, what I've been doing all along was very unproductive. You might think what you are doing today is trivial, but 2-3 years down the line, you will look back and say, actually, that was one of the best decisions I have made so far. So big percentage of people normally overestimate most things, overestimate the importance of most things. There are many things that you need not to do, but you still go ahead and do them because you don't have the wisdom to set your priorities in order of importance. And this takes us to another direction where you need to seek 2 things. Number 1, divine intervention. Number 2, the insight of an experienced person who has traveled down that route. And in these programs, we call such kind of a person a mentor. So in order for you not to overestimate the importance of things, seek divine intervention, number one, and number two, you look for a mentor who has traveled in that direction in their career or business. Number two, having many priorities confuses people. If you have to deal with many priorities in a day, then that day will be very challenging for you. You cannot do 10 things simultaneously. A good example is if you read books about animal trainers, you will find in those books that those trainers use to paralyze, to confuse the animals, chairs. They point the 4 parts of the chair that people sit on and point it to the animal. The animal gets confused as to which pointer they will have to deal with. So in the same way, people are challenged by dealing with so many priorities at one go. And the third part is when small demands are given too much attention. I give you an example. You wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, you are going for a high-stake meeting, 7 o'clock, you find your car's got flat tire. If you say you are going to change the tire, it will take you 1 hour. If you take a taxi to your meeting, you will manage to reach there before time. But you find people choosing to change the tire instead of taking the second option of catching a taxi. This is a challenge people have to deal with. And in this book, you are told when you see this kind of challenges, you have to take an option that involves not getting bogged down by small details. When small demands are given too much time, big problems arise. Number 4, making everything a priority means nothing is a priority. It is almost the same as having many priorities confusing people. Number 4 is almost the same as number 2, but the difference is you have written down priorities. In number 4, there is no written down priorities. You are just going out to do everything you have to do. Number 5, sometimes it takes an emergency to force people to prioritize. This comes in when you just have to deal with an emergency situation. Emergencies give us instant decision-making ability to choose the correct priority. So these 5 points should be noted before we proceed to the 7 big ideas from Richard Koch's book of 80-20 principle. Please keep this in mind. Now let's go down to the 7 points from Richard Koch. Let us go into the 7 big ideas from Richard Koch's the 80-20 principle. Number 1 is a minority of inputs leads to majority of output. Look at the clothes you wear, for example. There are few sets of clothes that are your favorite. Every day you would like to put them on, but because you don't want to, you choose another set. So this is an example of the minority input. Number 2 is Minority causes creates a majority effect. Few decisions that we make in a day produces 80% of the results we want. For example, you just make one phone call in the morning that gives you the output, 80% output. And the rest of the 80% of the time you go through the day, you do insignificant activities. This is what we mean by a minority of causes create a majority of effect. Number 3, a minority of efforts lead to majority of results. Like, for example, in school, especially secondary school, you study a lot of subjects: geography, physics, chemistry, history, mathematics, name it. But when it comes to your career, you are only concerned with one subject, or 1, 2, 3 subjects. The rest were just by the way, not just by the way, but they were there to create capacity for you to understand other concepts. So what we are saying here is minority of efforts lead to majority of results. Number 4 is in business. If you are in business, focus on the products and the customers that make you most money. Don't be concerned with trivial customers, trivial products that give you minimum profit. In business, you have to focus on the products and customers that make you the most money. And there is a bit of exception to this. If you are in politics, then you deal with the majority so that you can win the election. So it's a bit, you have to, if you are in business, you deal with the few products and customers that give you the most profit. But if you are in politics, deal with the majority who give you the win. Number 5, in life, focus on the activities that produce majority of satisfaction. This is about work-life balance. Don't spend 24 hours at work. You work there, you eat there, you sleep there. You neglect the other part of life, which is family. So work-life balance is very important. Now, remember, more efforts does not equal to more rewards. And here we are talking about work smarter. Don't work harder as such, but work smarter. Put the hours, but those hours must be channeled to activities that produce maximum results. The 80 principle rule is very simple. Discover who your best customers are and focus on doing everything that makes and gives those customers satisfaction.